but
Oh,
we're not there quite yet. I think we're going to have to do some.
this always happens. a better song. Well, not a better song, just a better route. uh, 1 second. We'll get this. Uh,
Some kind of
you doing? Welcome to Bell&Company. I am Joe Brunker. I am normally the co-host. This is my first time at the helm. Mario's feeling a little sick tonight. We've got our guest Ben with us. Ben, why don't you introduce yourself?
Arguelles, and I run and own DZ Records, a recording studio and production studio on the south side of Chicago in Bridgeport.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing that for about 15 years and used to be located in Hickory Hills
I
on the
remember.
southwest side. Did that for 12 years there, and now on the south side for 3 years. And also did DZ Fest in Hickory Hills for 10 years, and that ended there in 2022.
Were you still trying to bring DZ Fest back to
Yeah.
Chicago? I remember
Yeah,
that.
still doing that. Still
Yeah.
trying to. Yeah, in the process of just getting right now, just trying to find funding, money.
I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely, especially for Chicagoland. I bet that's a lot more expensive. in
Yeah,
a
just
sense.
a lot more insurance and a lot more hurdles to hop through, a lot more permits to purchase, and a lot more people to pay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty awesome though. Like I really would love to see that come to fruition at some point and like see that out in Chicago because I heard nothing but great things. Every time you showed me your backyard, every time like I went over there, I was just like, wow, this place is amazing.
I know, I miss it. But you can only do it in your backyard for so long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before you outgrow it in a sense.
You outgrow it as far as the patrons and the people that come, but also just the risk of doing it on your property and doing it kind of like underground DIY. It's dangerous.
I could definitely understand. Like I bet. So what's been like, I guess the big what kind of brought about DZ? Like what brought about that mindset? Like where you're like, I'm just gonna, start hosting a bunch of people in my basement for like in a really cool studio.
Yeah.
You know?
It started off slow, like anything. It started off first based off the cabin clubhouse that I built, the DZ,
Yeah.
when I was 15, so about 20 years ago.
And that was the one out in the backyard.
Yeah, just afford to be creative. I didn't realize it was going to become a place where my friends and I could listen to more music and watch movies and just kind of be outside of our homes, outside the box. And I started meeting more artists because most artists get attracted to that kind of living style.
Oh yeah.
So I started to meet more musicians and artists as a teenager. And then when I was 20, so 5 years after I made the DZ, I figured I would turn my basement into a studio and call it DZ Records. And I didn't know anything about equipment. I didn't have much, but I just started slowly acquiring more equipment and meeting more friends through playing, in bands and playing music, playing shows. You start to meet more people.
You didn't know stuff about like the filming and stuff like that because you.
Oh no, I didn't know anything.
My
It was a
gosh.
slow process, just real slow. The first time we filmed a live video session, trying to stay in chronological order. Let's see. So 2010 created DZ Records,
Yeah.
and then 2012 had the idea to do DZ Fest, which would be a festival in the backyard,
Yeah.
like a half acre of grass, about an acre lot, the full yard, and that was a slow process.
Didn't
too.
you have like thousands of people?
Thousands of people. Eventually, yeah. The first year, maybe a few hundred. The first year.
That's still
But
wicked.
it was really cool and fun, but it was also normal because again, this was a slow process of having people over all the time.
Yeah.
My parents were pretty cool with it because we were really good about it, and I was really careful and was safe and just made sure everyone was always safe. I was kind of more of a parent than the parents were. Yeah.
I think that's solid. Like
I mean, you kind of have to be if you want to pull that off.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to deal with the problems that could come with.
No, oh my goodness, yeah, the people getting hurt first and foremost. When you up that many people at your house for
Yeah.
a show, people do drugs, they do whatever,
Mhm.
and you risk a lot. But because it was a slow process, and the neighborhood and my friends and everyone grew with it, we slowly acquired like trust and stability through the scene and through the neighborhood and with the police and with neighbors and with my family and with the people who came. We
Yeah.
developed like a structure and just like a safety net, you know.
How many artists have you had through DZ Records now?
Oh my goodness.
Like, I can't even. That's in the thousands too. Like, is what it
easily
feels like.
thousands because yeah, I mean if I were to break up the podcasts that we've done and then
Yeah.
between Friends with Music podcast that we did for 7 years, which we started doing that in 2012.
Yeah.
And it was married with DZ Fest and the sessions. So that it was an accidental formula where we realized we can get bands to come in, do a live video session, then do like a 30-minute podcast with them afterwards, talking about music, how they got into it.
Yeah.
And then talk about DZ Fest and start planning intimate evenings, which were monthly shows to promote the fest.
Okay.
So then I would, by accident, I didn't realize this was not my intention, but I would get bands to record and I would film them. Then I realized it's kind of like an unconventional trial, like test run for me to see how they play. So maybe they could play a show,
Yeah.
see how they are as people behind the scenes and how they perform live with cameras and audio and mics. And I got to see how they really were as people. I'm like, oh, they'd be great for the fest. So I got all these bands that come through to work with. And in return, I realized I could start building the festival with these amazing bands that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
So it started just cycling. And we just did that for years and years. And podcast sessions, once a month show, comedy shows, DZ Fest, and just did that for 10 years straight.
That's so cool.
And eventually it was thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people and artists, hundreds and hundreds of individual artists selling artwork throughout DZ Fest.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thousands of bands. I mean, between the shows and the fest, that was probably a few hundred bands just performing shows, not including the recording part, you know.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't even know. It's so many, I kind of lost track. I kind of
Yeah.
to be honest, it's a lot, and because it's just life now. I don't really think
How
about
long
it.
did that podcast last? The first one?
That was 7 years. We did it until 2019, and then my cousin Matt, who did it with me, he had a kid, so he just had more time to focus on that, which I get. And then the pandemic happened, and then I thought I'd start my own Bending Brains, and I've been doing that for 4 years. Just hit 100 episodes.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah, which is great.
I think
That's
that's pretty
cool.
exciting.
Yeah, 100
Like,
episodes, a lot of great interviews in there, and that one's long. It's usually like 2 to 4 hours, so I spent a lot of time doing that one.
that's a great time.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's good to have that long of conversation, the depth and brevity that you can gain from it. Like, I don't know, like that's just.
Yeah, and it's mostly people I met doing what I do. It's mostly people I met behind the scenes that get overlooked or don't have a lot of eyes on them, and I might record them and talk with them and before and in between takes and find out that they came from a different country and they went to school and studied, you know, chemistry and actually are a chemist and by night or by trade, you know, and it's like, oh, I'd like to talk to this person. Like,
Yeah.
I don't meet a lot of people like that, you know, so.
No, it's kind of cool, and I just think everybody's their own storybook, you know, and you just like the more pages that you open, the more that you understand about the person. So I think that's a beautiful way to go about it with that podcast. I've listened in on a few of them, and
cool.
I thoroughly enjoy it.
Thank you.
I think you do well at engaging who you're talking with, and you make them feel seen. And that's exactly what you're going for. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a pretty so like I noticed like the last time I saw you before, well, aside from when Brojack came in last, was a show in Chicago.
Okay.
I had just been coming in when you had finished, so I didn't know. I didn't even
playing?
know. Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know
when
what
was it?
I think you were.
Was it the Burlington Subterranean?
Sub T? Yes,
Yeah.
it was Sub T. Yeah. What was the band that you were with?
That was probably Neighbors, you know.
Okay.
That was last year. Maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Maybe Lithia. Neighbors,
Oh,
you know?
Lithia.
Maybe
I think it was Lithia. Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot. I play in bands too.
Yeah.
Player,
I know.
But, I mean, I've been playing in bands forever, so I kind of don't think about it. That's the thing that's a constant is music. So
Yeah.
I don't think to mention that.
Okay, I understand. Like so what's been like I guess when you've been in this for so long, what's been the most taxing part of it for you?
Oh
what
my
you would
God.
say.
Where do I begin? It's hard to say. Probably your own self expectation for the future based on the past successes that and there's no like roadmap when you're in like kind of uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Not that you're like special, you just might be doing a few things that aren't common, so you don't have too many ways of knowing where to go, you know? So
Mhm.
you have to manufacture your own expectations.
That's the
And
truth.
yeah, and then so in doing, I mean, everyone does, right? But
Yeah.
the more narrow or esoteric the path gets, the more you kind of really are on your own. So kind of doing these weird things I've been doing that some people do, but to do them all together for so long under the circumstances, I think just your own expectations and trying your own thing, a DIY endeavor for this long and winging it the whole way with not knowing what's going to happen. That's probably the hardest part, like the not knowing, because it's a unique path, you know.
I bet.
Yeah.
I definitely bet. Like, I mean, it's just trying to get over those hurdles. Do you ever like deal with like issues where you're just stuck at a wall for a while?
Right now, yeah, with the fest,
The fest.
yeah, it's just a money thing, and then also, should I do this to myself again?
Yeah.
You know, because I did this for 10 years. It was amazing, but really hard.
Yeah, I bet that's taxing.
It's so hard. So
I tried to run a fest like for like just to like try to get like more bands to play at once, you know, I thought it was cool, you know, but it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And I guess I would like to do it differently. I learned what to do differently so I can not be so taxing. I was taking on too much responsibility, too many risks with money and no insurance and all that stuff.
And not being able to delegate in a sense.
Delegate, but also because it was so customized, I still had to do too many jobs where like if I do it again, I would hand off the baton to someone and let them just do their professional job.
Outsource with friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And also when you're doing a DIY fest and everything is kind of free for everyone involved, including my friends and myself.
Yeah.
You're having friends help you, but sometimes it might not be their expertise. They're just lending a hand because you need help.
Exactly.
So doing it at a larger level.
And those are great friends.
Those are great. The best friends. In fact, they got better at doing those types of things over those years.
Oh, I bet some of them probably even went into it.
Yeah. No, for real. Some of my friends, I think DZ Fest either helped them get into something they weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Realize what they don't want to get into. That's another thing too.
Yeah.
You know, it's both of those, or made them appreciate it like overall from a different side of things. Just seeing the underneath it, like how it's built from the ground up.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You brought up the expectations thing, and I that hit me on the head. I had so many expectations that I had gotten. Okay, so after rehab, in high school, I got really religious.
Okay.
And I was a pastor for like 7 years.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. So it was like, with that, after kind of being burnt out by a lot of what was going on in the churches I was working with, I went into music and I started to see, you know, my life's falling apart in this area, but you know, I got this and this I'm gonna push as hard and as far as I can, and so that I can make the money, pay off all my debts for college, stuff like that, do all these things. And I got so caught up in that it was just like I spiraled straight forward to the point where I had totally like lost who I was for the past few years. And it was just more of kind of because of my expectations. I was so expectant of trying to push it to the top as fast as I could, rather than, you know, trusting the process or working with the process. You know, I was going against the flow of it just to try to overcome all the things that I couldn't seem to overcome in my normal life, you know? So it was just like, I saw the things I was good at. So I was like, I'm going to work on cashing that in. And the expectations consistently were shattered, you know, because I always put way too much into it, invested too much thought into that area.
Yeah, too many eggs in one basket. You got to balance it out. I've learned to balance more, not like dial it back a little bit, but you get addicted to it.
Yeah. And I mean, having like I didn't know I was. The good part about it is that it gives you, like, when you do burn out or fry yourself, you know, it just, you kind of definitely start to become more introspective, and you start to see your faults and flaws for what they are. You know, and it slaps you right in the face.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing I took away from doing those 10 years. Like the highs were high. Like I learned so much.
Yeah.
I met amazing people, got way better at doing what I do.
Yeah.
Way more patient. Threshold for stress is pretty high because of it,
I've
which is good
seen
and
your
bad.
patience, and I always wanted to emulate it whenever I
You've
saw
seen
you.
it?
'Cause-
Oh.
yeah, just because like just seeing how patient you are with any of us that come there.
Oh yeah.
Like you're just so kind. So
you.
biblically, meek shall inherit the earth. And
Yeah.
you're meek and calm. And it brings a peace to a lot of things.
Thank you.
Which diffuses a lot of any sort of situations or tensions.
It does, and that's a skill. I mean, I've kind of always had it. Thank God. I think that was a little bit of a natural thing I had, but it's been pushed, and you have to learn that people coming in to record their music in any studio, and this is advice for anyone listening that does this or wants to do it, is remember that they're a person who over time wrote some of these songs in their bedroom, in their garage, in their living room, in their basement, sometimes under sad circumstances, sometimes under heartbreak or depression or death, sometimes good reasons, but a lot of songs are pretty sad.
Yeah,
And-
a lot of. I
and
can
if they're-
definitely feel that.
Yeah, and if they're not sad, it's still emotional. So that's just the starting point. Then they took a lot of time to practice it, maybe show their friends in another band and create a song, and then have the guts to save up money and put time to go into a studio to capture it. Sometimes with just audio, sometimes audio and video, which is even harder.
Yeah.
And they're putting it out there for the world, and they're performing in front of a person they may have never met. It's a lot of stress. So the least you can do is be patient and peaceful with them, because that's what they're doing is way harder than what you're about to do, which is be behind the mic, behind the camera.
How many cameras do you normally have running? Like 5 or 6?
It depends. I've done up to 5. I vary a lot depending on the circumstances, the size of the room.
I remember when
setup.
Primal Moon did it. We had like 5. I
Yeah,
remember
that was
you-
probably like 4 years ago.
Yeah,
5
yeah,
years ago.
yeah. There was a couple times. I think we went in the first time with a couple of our originals, like our first originals that we wrote, and then we went back and did some covers with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Johnny Be Good people still love listening to
That was a
one.
good one.
That
You
was
could
fun.
belt it. You have a strong voice.
Yeah, I know. I remember when you told me.
It's a good thing. It's always a good thing. Strong voice is not a negative thing. When you are told that, it means
yeah.
you're loud enough for the mic, so the person working the mic, the mixer, the engineer, doesn't have to turn that mic up so loud to compensate for someone quiet.
That's what a lot of people told me, especially at shows quite a bit, like at venues, is that the voice definitely helped with their monitors and
It's the
figuring it
best.
out.
It makes for a way better sound stage, way less feedback, much more controllable situation.
My struggle has been learning the dynamics of it.
Yeah, if you are a loud singer, you have to be careful. If you have soft parts where you sing, you
Mhm.
don't know how to get the distance from your soft to your loud
Then it sounds
dynamically
really
closer.
rough.
Yeah, it could be hard to hear one moment and then too loud the next moment. Like
Yeah.
too large of a leap.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Have you ever like recorded something for somebody and then looked at it and been like, "Hey, let's get you back in instead"? Like, I don't know. Have you ever done like a retake?
No, I don't think I've done a retake. There's probably been like 3 to 5 times. Pretty embarrassing things where you accidentally delete like a file or a session when like transferring it. You're tired or you make a mistake, you mislabel.
Yeah.
So file management is massive. It's huge.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, I have probably over 30 terabytes of stuff around
That's
audio.
insane.
Between the documentary we're working on the fest and
Yeah.
sessions and video, I try to keep everything I can. And then all the sessions I try to save for future use or practice, or just in case the band reaches out. But probably like 5 times out of, a couple thousand. So it's pretty rare
Yeah.
where I just truly deleted something and had to have them come back in, not to redo it because they were making mistakes because I made a mistake. And usually I try to offer like something free for that because I made the mistake. But it does not happen a lot. That is so rare that I can only even remember like 1 or 2 times.
Okay. Have you? So like you brought up the documentary.
Yeah.
Like what exactly is that about? DZ Fest in general? Like,
Yeah, it's about DZ Fest. Yeah.
Is it already out?
No, we're working on it. They're also looking for some funding for that.
Really? How
Funding
far are you in?
Turns out money is the problem for everything.
It's the struggle point.
Yeah.
I for real feel that.
Well, we have all the footage. We filmed footage here and there without realizing it for all 10 years. And
Wow.
then for each band that played, we would always do one video per performance as like a payment or towards them for them playing, like as like a trade. So that's, 300 videos right there just from the 10 years of all the bands that played. So we have that footage to cut in between. Then we have all of these interviews we did the last year where my friend came up from Florida and we filmed. He lived with me for 6 weeks and he filmed,
Wow,
I think 40 interviews, 38 or 40 interviews.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's really
he
crazy.
did 4
That's
with me
cool.
that were like hours. I think we did like 6 hours of interviews with me,
And
maybe
then
more.
cut that down.
Oh yeah, he's gonna cut it down to an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
and then he filmed with the crew the whole fest, the setting up, the before, during, and after, but not part of the film crew that films the bands, but
Yeah.
filmed us doing that. So he was like outside of it, capturing everyone doing everything. And we're gonna work on that, and been working on that, trying to get funding for it. And
Have you been doing Indiegogo at all, or like
we tried crowdsourcing and it didn't make much. It just-
Really?
yeah, some people, I don't know, you have to have very specific subject matters, I think, to do well with that. Usually life or death stuff is big.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know, I have thoughts. I have thoughts on Indiegogo and GoFundMe. They can be really good for when people are like really sick, a funeral, something tragic like that. When it's tragic, I think they're great. When they're not, they usually work really well for, it seems like they work well with people who have money already.
Yeah.
I don't know
a
how
lot
to
of
say it.
Like
I'm
Zach Braff. Like
It's just-
he can do it, and he'll
Well,
pop it off.
It works well in corners where anyone in your friends and family have enough money to donate $100 each,
Yeah.
$50 each, even $10 each. But when you have hundreds or thousands of people in your life that can do that, and have people that are really good at donating, so they spread it. Different circles will donate more. If the circles you're in don't have a lot of money, you might only get $700 instead of $7,000.
Yeah.
So it really depends. But I'm trying to do more like trying to get funding through like grants and stuff like in the arts, just to keep
good
it so
thoughts.
no one has their hands on it. Like no company can be like, oh, we'll give you money for it, but then we want to like own it.
Take it back.
It'd be nice to own it because it's a pretty cool, sacred thing that I think is one of a kind to share.
I think once you can share it, people are gonna love it.
I think so too.
And I think that'll also fuel the funding for.
That's kind of the plan, is to
Yeah.
marry them with the fest. They're
Yeah.
kind of one in one, because we want to continue the documentary with the next iteration of the fest.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's gonna be so like positioning wise, since you've been living in the city
Mhm.
for the past 3 years,
Mhm.
like where are you looking mostly?
My dream would be to do it at, and this is not official, so,
Yeah, of course.
but my
At the
idea-
rat hole. I'm just kidding.
It would be at Armour Square Park, right in front of the Sox Park.
Oh,
On
nice.
33rd Street by Shields, and there's a park there.
I
It's
actually
surrounded
just
by-
went to the game
Oh,
on
okay.
Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So it's surrounded by parking lots.
Yeah.
It's honestly the most ideal. I hope I'm not giving my idea away and someone in the city hears this and steals it from me, but
I know, right?
it happened here today.
They're gonna call it
May
AZ
4th
Fest or
at like
something.
8:30. Because it's the ideal place sonically and as far as public transportation and getting in and out and parking, it couldn't be a better spot. And if you were to do it there in July during the All-Star break, then there's no games there for 10 days or a week.
That's
So
true.
you could set up and break down right there.
Also, we don't get many All-Stars that come from there anymore.
No, but even so, the whole league takes a break. So
Yeah.
like that's a perfect time to do it and not get in the way of the Sox. And then they already have a whole system of parking. They have parking lots surrounding it in like a big horseshoe.
That's pretty
So the
awesome.
sound wouldn't bother anyone nearby. And then the stages, you just kind of face them south, west, southeast. So their sound goes that way. And then the rest of the neighborhood is already used to events happening there.
Would you do
where
a
they can-
two-stager? Or
Yeah,
like
2 stages, flip flop back and forth, no ending in music. As soon as one ends, the next one starts. Just
That's
like how we used to
phenomenal.
do it at
Yeah.
the fest. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So that'd be the ideal. It's a good spot for it. It has a good infrastructure, has bike lanes, has train, has the red line stop, has 9094, has
Perfect for drawing everything.
yeah, everyone can go there. Has parking lots we could probably rent. So if you drive a car, you have a spot. If you take a bus, you have bus stops. If you ride a bike, you have bike lanes.
Yeah.
If you take public transportation, there's CTA. If you take the metro, there's Metro. If you fly in the O'Hare, you can take the Orange Line right there, and then it's a great spot.
That's beautiful.
It's perfect. It's right off 9094. So
I
anyone
really hope
coming
you
in
get
from
that.
out of state, boom.
I hope you get that so
It's
much.
better than any other location I've seen as far as that goes. The only reason why I think more festivals don't go there is if it's not big enough for like a big festival.
Yeah, like a Pitchfork or a.
It could handle like a Pitchfork, because Pitchfork did about 40 bands, and I do about 40 bands.
Oh, okay.
So it just depends
Then
on
you'd
how
be good on that. Yeah. That would
yeah.
be
So
solid.
it depends on how big you want to go, but it wouldn't work for like a Riot Fest or a Lollapalooza. It's too small for that.
Okay.
It's good for like a medium professional size one.
Okay. Yeah, I have yet to go to Pitchfork. I just knew it was in the city, so I was kind of guessing.
It ended.
was
There's
like
only 19. It ended 19 years they did it, and they last year they ended, which is pretty sad.
That is pretty sad. Did you go?
I've been there 4 times, so I did not go the last year. I didn't know it was gonna be the last year. It ended. They did 2020. I think it was 2024, and then that's it. And then they're like, "There's no more 2025." So
that's a real bummer. There's been a lot of fests that have been seeing the axe lately.
It's hard.
I've noticed.
It's hard to sustain. There's a lot of overhead. There's a lot of risk. A lot of insurance.
Oh yeah, and then there's a lot of people like like sometimes you'll work with the wrong people at times. Like like I knew there was one fest where I guess one of the people was just basically funneling everything their direction and
the money,
so they were running,
classic.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it's tricky. That's the goal, is to try to make it the most ethical and functional festival that gives the most back to the local region, the epicenter of the festival. All the businesses and homes and kids around it benefit the most from it.
Yeah,
make it more like a local thing that still has international, national draw, but benefits its local economy and the people around it.
So when you teach courses, do you teach courses on like festival like building, or how do you teach your I know you're a professor, right? Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, at ISU, I just finished last week, my 7th year, so that's great.
Really?
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 7 years. But I teach full time there in creative technologies department, and I teach all kinds of classes. For example, this last semester I did sound design, 2 courses of that, so 2 sections, and then mixing and mastering, which is a little bit more advanced class. And then I taught an audio production class. And then this upcoming semester, teaching like a music concept class, audio theory class, advanced sound project class, more like seniors and grad students take that. And then I've taught music business classes. So in music business, I talked more about the festival thing.
Okay.
I had a lot of my friends who worked the festival or who work festivals guest speak in that class.
Really? So you drive down to ISU every day?
On Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I'll drive down there, teach 4 classes, come back, and then off for the summers. That's Tuesday and Thursday, and then on Wednesdays I go to Columbia downtown and teach audio class there. Yeah, just 1. I've done 2, but just 1. I've been doing that for 2 years.
That's awesome. I didn't know about like both of them. Like that's even cooler.
It's fun. It's never a dull moment. I'll tell you that.
What kind of got you into that realm? Were you already in it before you started DZ Fest? Or
oh
were you
no,
did that come from it?
Both. Yeah, it's funny. Both things happened. I started doing both at the same time, and like as a teenager, going to college.
Yeah,
and then doing music, and I was working at UPS. So I was kind of doing all 3 at the same time.
Is ISU your alma mater?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, Columbia is actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so started playing music, did the DZ Records thing, and was in a band, and then working at UPS, the one in Hotchkiss. I don't know if you've
Okay, yeah, I've driven by there.
Oh, it's like its own mega city. It's crazy.
It's huge.
It's a wild place. I have stories for eons about that place.
What's your wildest? We'll find after
what
this.
broken bone do you want to hear about? I mean, I worked there for 7 years.
How many bones you break?
There? 3.
Dang.
My back, I threw out my back a few times. I went to the hospital a lot. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That sounds like
it was an adventure.
Some labor.
It humbled me tremendously.
Hey, I mean, sometimes humility is a good thing. I needed my dose of it.
I think everyone should have to do a manual labor job at least one time in their life.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I think that would be. While it could hurt, it does help.
Maybe not 7 years, but at least a few times, just to understand and appreciate the
other in the desert.
Yeah, the people that really do that work, so we can have fun and go on podcasts and have festivals.
Yeah.
Good
times.
I don't know. I digress, but UPS going to school. I was going to community college, Moraine Valley Community College.
Oh, nice.
just trying to figure out stuff and didn't know what I was doing. I always wanted to study sound design, audio production, but didn't have the money to go to school for that. It's expensive to go to Columbia for that.
For sure. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
don't really have much state funding or anything
It's a
like
private
that.
school.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
unless you do really well, maybe get a scholarship, you can get some grants. It's one of those situations where if you're really wealthy, you can go. If you're really poor, you'll get in. If you're in the middle class, you're kind of screwed. Like
Mm.
most things when it comes to college, that can be a problem.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah. So I was kind of in that spot. And so I went to community college first because I couldn't afford Columbia at first. And that's when I started collecting equipment, recording, doing the fest, all that. And then got into Columbia and went there when I was older. I went to 22, not like right away.
Yeah.
So I transferred to there, after I got associates. And I just wanted to get a college degree so I could maybe get a job at a studio or maybe get a job doing like sound design for films, things like that. Didn't really know. But I really actually wanted to have the festival. The getting a job in it was more secondary, as like a fallback plan.
Yeah.
And UPS was like the ultimate fallback plan. Like if the fest didn't work and DZ Fest didn't work and DZ Records and all that, or teaching, I didn't even think about teaching yet. I was like, well, I could at least work at UPS forever. I mean, that really is a career job.
It is.
So it's not the worst fallback I've ever heard.
You could definitely get a
So that was
great
the plan.
benefit, off of it.
It's not my dream, but it was the ultimate fallback plan. So I just did all of them until I finished college at Columbia, and I was 24. So I was like maybe 2 years behind the average person at 22. Still didn't think of teaching or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I did notice I kept going and guest speaking at my friends' classes because I was already doing the fest for a few years, recording bands, had a podcast, was in a band, made albums, recorded bands, and had a degree in it. So some of my friends were like, oh, you're kind of cool. Maybe like come guest speak I teach high school, come speak to the guitar class. I would go in my friends' high school courses.
Yeah.
And just kind of started realizing that I was doing stuff that people were interested in hearing about.
You had a gift for it.
Not that I was like good at talking. People liked the stuff I was doing. So I was just telling what I was doing. And it turned out kids and all ages liked hearing it. So I just kept doing it more. And then a friend of mine worked at ISU. It was his first year teaching there, and he was like, hey, I teach this audio class. He just got a job there, like adjunct professor.
Yeah.
And he was like, you should come talk about DZ Fest and DZ Records. This was September 2015. I won't forget it because I went there, and after I did it for that day, and they paid me like $300 to do it, I was like, this is crazy. I just got paid to talk about what I like to do.
Yeah.
And I just never went to UPS ever again. I just quit like that. I just never went back.
That's
After
so
7
cool.
years and had a pension, I just quit on the spot.
Wow.
And just didn't go back. And I was like, I'm going to go to grad school and try to get a master's of fine arts so I can get a terminal degree in the arts and then become a professor. And so I applied, and
that's insane.
Didn't get in the first time, had to wait a whole year, redo my essay and submission, got in the second time, finished in 2 years, got the degree. And then right when I graduated, my friend Aaron, who worked there, called me up and was like, hey, we want to hire you full time. And it's full circle. Why you asked me, like, did you want to be a teacher or the festival thing? Doing the fest the whole way through this age, this was at 28. So by this point, it was like the 7th year I was doing it.
Yeah.
And recording the bands and doing the sessions. That's what got me hired there. They were so impressed with what I was doing. And it was off the radar, like underground, not in any professional sphere. It was just a DIY thing. And they still hired me anyway to be a professor to teach about this stuff.
I mean, they saw the quality that was coming from
yeah,
it,
that's the thing.
Like,
the dedication and honestly the amount of work, the quantity. It's so much stuff.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah, it's like what I realize is a good educator, regardless if it's a teacher, professor, just anybody teaching from a preschooler to graduate level, you want people, especially in college and graduate level, who do the thing, not just hypothetically think about it, but
for
actually
sure
do it. And some professors have different fields where it has to be more hypothetical. Maybe it's mathematics, maybe it's philosophy, or something more creative like literature. But
yeah,
if it's hands-on, recording, production, podcasting, filming, event promotion, putting on events, booking,
marketing, stuff of that nature, yeah,
you want people telling you about it, telling students about it who just do it every single day, nonstop, that live it.
Yeah, I bet. So has marketing gotten like easier where you don't really have to market as heavily over time just because you've got that, you've built that following?
Great question. It used to be that way up until this funny thing that happened in March 15th, 2020. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
And it was this
I
little
remember.
small global small speck of thing that happened called the coronavirus.
We had a
Up
little
in-
festival that day that was supposed
Really?
to happen.
Oh no. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah, Mudfest. We were gonna play with Puddle of Mud, Tantric, like all of them.
What?
Yeah.
And it was gonna happen March like that. Oh my god, you had to cancel it.
Oh yeah. I think we still ended up playing with Tantric at some point, but there was to nobody because
Oh my
like you
God.
couldn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. I mean, obviously it affected a lot of people. So
Oh yeah.
what was my life? But up until that point, it got to the point where that was the 9th year of DZ Records and the 8th year of DZ Fest. So it was kind of just its own snowball effect. It was just rolling, and I would get more emails coming in than I had to like send out. And it wasn't like flooding, but it was consistent every week. Just people reaching out to like do a session or play an intimate evening show
Yeah.
or play the fest or come on the podcast or record an album or record an EP or hire me to come to their place to record on location. I mean, whatever it is, I'll do it. I think I've said yes to everything you can ever say yes to. And but then because the pandemic happened, so obviously everyone had to go inside. So those things slowed down or stopped completely. But what happened that we're still recovering from is the financial part of it. Is a lot of bands already are struggling or have certain jobs that are struggling, and the pandemic hurt those jobs, which means it hurts them, which means it hurts their spending, which means they're not going to spend on frivolous things like maybe a video for promotion
True.
for a band that maybe they don't get paid enough to justify doing this for. Like the list, it just keeps, it's a snowball effect in the opposite way. It's like a domino effect rather.
Have you
Yeah.
stayed pretty busy still?
So you
even in
stay
that?
busy, but it's like not enough people have enough money to spend. Not enough people can afford a tour like they used to. I was able to reach out to bands left and right when they were on tour, and they would just stop in. Not enough can always do that.
Touring's insane now. The cost of it.
Yeah,
It's
its cost is hard. So I mean, I still offer my house for a band to stay. If they're on tour, I offer a free video if they're on tour. Just stuff like to
Yeah.
cross pollinate and grow everything.
Yeah.
But it is harder just because everything in the art and music community shrunk down a little bit from the pandemic, and then the money hit it. So it's like a, quadrupling the effect of the problem.
Oh yeah. What's that sale you have going on right now? You have a discount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
35% off all live videos and recordings from May 1st to August 1st. I try to do some type of sale every summer because I'm not teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm not doing the fest in the summer, just trying to plan for it for next year.
Yeah.
So I have this open time so I have more time to book more stuff and make some discounts and hook up some people and just try to get more
freedom.
people in. Yeah, a little more freedom to take the risk on just not, making as much money per band, but it always works out, and then it benefits them too. So it's a win-win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's really great. And what you do in there, like every time we went to you because of the quality that we were getting, it was just like every time it was like we were watching a movie, you did so well with live.
I try to capture the live element with the audio.
Yeah.
I always say I'm just translating like what you do. So as long as you come in well practiced and, not too nervous, everyone's kind of nervous.
Of course.
I'm just translating that. So, but I just try to use really good microphones, really good techniques that I've learned over the years and capture it as authentic and honest as I can. And that's why I think a lot of, bands like it. I don't want to put too much processing, maybe some reverb, but leave it live and natural. And then have the lighting in the environment feel like comfortable and homey.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a basement or a place you would hang out, you'd want to be like relaxing in.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So aside from like DZ, and honestly, like I feel like I relax like every time I'm down there because of the lighting.
Yeah.
You have it down to point, Sorry, I just
No.
I had a question in my head and then I was like, wait, but back to that. Yeah, I feel relaxed the more I think about it. But yeah, the question's gone. It was like a choo-choo train.
Maybe it'll come back.
Yeah, it's one of those boomerang thoughts.
You want your clients to be relaxed, and that's really important because, again, like I said a little bit ago about how stressed they might be, they're about to share something private with the world, and it goes on the internet. And the internet could be a great place, it could be a mean place. So
yeah,
the nerves are high. Maybe they'd never performed before.
Have you dealt with that from like people commenting on the videos? Like if you ever deal with like some
Sometimes,
hardcore
but
critics?
between that and the podcast, I don't look at the comments. I've seen a couple
get that.
things. Most are pretty good. I'd say like 90% are sweethearts and nice and supportive. Then you get 5% is kind of just neutral, weird, like kind of doesn't make sense what they're commenting, and then you get like 5% just pure psycho evil. Like what are you doing?
Yeah, come on. Why you come to
problematic
the
people.
comment section?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not most of them, so thank God.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good at least. I
But
mean,
don't look at the comments. I turned that off to where it would like let me know that someone commented. Because at first, like, oh, you get excited that you're making something and people are liking it and talking about it, and then you get your first kind of mean one, and you're like, I don't need this. I don't need to
hear this stuff.
No.
I definitely understand that. Like there's definitely something that you notice when people get negative in the comments section. I usually tend to avoid those. That's kind of why I've been slowly just kind of wanting to unplug, because like I said, I got all wound up, burnt out, in a sense that it's just like I'm wanting to unplug from everything because of that. But yeah, so I'm glad that I got to interview you beforehand, because I don't know, it seems like you impart quite a bit of wisdom just by with what you say, because you have that professorial sort of vibe going to you.
Yeah, it's been they've grown together, doing the fast recording, meeting so many people, just band after band, maybe once or twice a week, between 1 and 10 people come through, sometimes from around the world, different cultures, different language, different religion, different education, different beliefs, different styles of music, different genres. So that's been the best part about it. The education that I've gained from recording sounds and bands that I've never really thought I would listen to or wasn't that into at first, it's taught me how to be into every style of music. Like everything is cool now. I've enjoyed every style of music now.
What would you say is your like favorite one that you discovered while working with DZ? Favorite genre that kind of like at first you didn't really care for it, and then slowly you just kind of started delving in it more?
Probably, that's a good question. Maybe I'd say like bluegrass old time music.
I do love bluegrass.
Bluegrass old time music, and maybe like R&B, neo soul type of music.
Ooh, very nice.
It's always been passive to me. I've heard it in passing throughout my whole life, but it's not been a part of my family or close friends, so it never really permeated my inner circle. And then after meeting so many, the musicians that tend to play in those genres are phenomenal. They tend to be highly trained in neo soul and R&B. They tend to be like jazz trained and really good with jazz.
Yeah.
And then in the bluegrass old time, they tend to be classically trained.
Yeah, a lot of classical
trained.
Sure.
Usually they studied it, or they've been playing it their whole life, and they've been playing the violin or their instrument since they were 5 or 6. So they're really tight, like perfect precision players. Don't make a mistake. And because the nature of the style of their recordings they used to do with like one microphone,
all live,
and you can't overdub, you couldn't make mistakes. So everyone had to be perfect, and they had to self-mix by moving closer and farther from the microphone and getting out of each other's way to mix on the one microphone with the one track. So it's a really cool technique, and it just has a raw precision to it that other styles get to be more loose with what they do.
I get that. Yeah, for sure. Bluegrass is definitely it's a lot more technique than people ever consider.
Yeah, it came from watching it. It came from sitting on the ground with the camera, 10 years ago, and just watching an upright bass, a mandolin, a banjo.
I love mandolins.
Yeah,
there's some of my favorite little sounds.
They're fun. If you can get pretty decent on one, it's fun in a way that a ukulele is fun, where just the 4 strings you can move faster than 6. I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah. So how many instruments can you play yourself?
I mean, I could play guitar and I could play bass, but I don't play bass like a trained bass player with my fingers. I could dabble with drums, but I'm not a good drummer by any means. I know enough about drums to fake it, and I know how to set up drums and tune them enough to fake to where most drummers would probably think I am one.
Yeah.
Until they heard me play, and then they're like, "Oh, he's not a drummer." It's just because I've set up and mic'd and put mics and moved around and set up drums thousands of times. So
yeah,
I could do it. I could set up most equipment. I just can't play all of them. Piano, same thing. I could dabble on it, but I don't really play. I'm not good.
Yeah.
Ukulele, I definitely learned a lot on ukulele, but I haven't played much.
Ukulele's fun. We actually there was this guy in my college, and we were on a retreat in Missouri, and he played the ukulele the entire retreat. And he would like walk behind people and play the ukulele till the point where everybody was like, "Oh, I never want to hear a uke again." It's like,
They can get a little annoying. The timbre of them is high pitch.
oh yeah, I loved it, but yeah, at some point I definitely understand why people got annoyed because he was just like up in the corners.
Yeah, if you're not the one playing the violin, the mandolin, the banjo, the ukulele, high pitched timbred instruments, pretty quickly they can become annoying if you're listening and not playing. Unless you're phenomenal at it.
Exactly.
Then it could start because it's so ear scratching. The pitch of it's high pitch. So if you're not good at it and someone has to sit there listen to someone doing it, it can get aggravating.
He was good at it. I think it was just the fact that he played between like 2 songs. Like, so it's just like, man,
that would get annoying.
Let's get some more variety, bud.
More variety.
I'm tired of Soul Sister. Okay, I get it. The lipstick stains. But yeah, I don't know. I am really glad that you came on this show with us. Like, thank you for stopping in tonight. I don't know what time it is, but
I don't either.
Oh yeah. Oh, we got a little more time to talk.
Yeah,
let's do that. But yeah, I don't know. I just I've always looked at you and I'm like, the first time we saw you, I was like, I don't know, like he gets some good videos and he's very quiet, and I really enjoyed that. Like, it's just really like, because I'm loud and I'm boisterous.
You mean like quiet while working with you?
Yeah, you're really calm, like I said, and I'm not that. So it's just everything about that. I'm like, I tend to drift closer to like I like looking at those people and looking at and kind of gleaning off them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to be calm in that situation. That's why I like it. People think I'm a social person. I mean, I am, but I kind of lean a little bit more like being alone.
Introvert.
Yeah, and I get to do it in plain sight with so much that I do. You know, even going to ISU, I get to be alone in my car for 2 hours. I could sit in silence. I could listen to music. I could listen to a podcast, and I got to talk to kids for 6 hours. I get to sit in silence again. I like both parts of it.
How do you like sitting in silence? I love it.
I like sitting in silence. I like sitting in. I could just talk with people.
Yeah,
I could just listen to music and not talk, and just listen to music with people all day.
It depends on what you're feeling too.
Yeah,
in that sense,
yeah,
I definitely understand that. Like, I tend to find myself in silence a lot more, than I used to be. I used to always have to have something going, like some sort of sound. But now it's just like you could sit in a car and just be pensive in thought the entire time.
Yeah.
Or you could just kind of be drifting and let it kind of flow. What so you drive 2 hours out there Tuesdays and Thursdays and Wednesdays in Chicago. Do you you take the drive all the way back after 4 hours of classes every night?
It's 6 hours, so about 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll teach 6 hours, and then drive back, get home around usually like 7, and then do band practice. Usually on Thursdays or Tuesdays, we'll do go straight into band practice.
Do you ever stay down there at all?
No, I did that 7 years ago when I first started because the hours they gave me were wacky. They didn't know they were going to hire me, so I had to be there every day, which could be too much to drive.
Yeah,
so I was staying at my friend's house in his living room on an air mattress. My first semester being a professor, which is a great story. Oh, you hear professor like, oh, must be a nice job, and like must be like studious. And I'm like, no, I was actually on an air mattress in a room with no AC, sweating. My first semester teaching.
Was it a nice air mattress?
It's the kind where you wake up and every morning you got to refill.
It's deflated.
It's deflated, and you're like, oh. God.
I hate those. Like
there's no other kind. I mean, that's just the way they all go eventually.
There's only a couple of them where I'm like, wow, this thing lasted a whole night.
Yeah, when it's brand new and you're the only one who uses it, not 2 people,
Mhm.
and they're like over $150. All those three things have to happen, otherwise they will go flat.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite part about transitioning from Hickory Hills to Chicago? Aside from the fact that like the sad part is that DZ Fest no
yeah.
longer goes.
Yeah, I
for
miss
now.
it tremendously.
But
Yeah.
what was like the biggest cool part about Chicago?
The coolest part, the access to the music venues, going to like a show now, like say a band comes in. I'm really close to the highway. So say a band comes in and they asked if they could, stay the night because they're coming in on tour. Like, yeah, stay the night, and then we can go to the venue because it's only a few miles away. It's so close and it's easy and fun. And we can go to this amazing restaurant in Chinatown right here,
Yeah.
and go here and go here. Whereas before, if they came into town and they're like, hey, we're playing at Shuba's tonight, you want to be on the guest list? I had to be like, I had to think about how far it's going to take, what time I have to wake up tomorrow. There's going to be traffic.
That's
Oh man,
that's
you
the
think
struggle.
about all these things when you're just even 15 miles away versus just a few miles away or 20 miles away. You think about them a little bit more. It might stop you more than you would. So I like the fact that I can be more open to go to shows, events, have more access to that. The food is great. The food where I was great too, but it's like you can just walk anywhere and the food is amazing.
What's your go-to?
Happiness on 33rd and Halstead, the best Chinese around.
Really?
It's really
Okay.
good. It's extremely affordable.
What plate
Huge
would you say?
quantity. I really like the beef and broccoli, but like this Szechuan beef.
That's my go-to a
And
lot
any
of
of their
times.
beef plates, their beef platters are great, and they're really affordable. Huge quantity, close by. I mean, I walk to it all. They know me now, like my number. So when I walk in, they just handed it to me. It's great.
My goodness,
I go there
that's
so
cool.
much.
That is the coolest thing. It's
Yeah.
already ready for you, prepped.
The food is exquisite where I live, and makes it hard to go anywhere else.
Oh, definitely understandable.
The museums, I go to a lot of museums now more than ever. That's fun.
I've always been wanting to go to the American Writers Museum.
American Writers
Yeah, there's like a
Where's that?
it's in Chicago. There's
Huh.
like a writers museum, and that's the one I've been kind of
That
interested
sounds
in checking
interesting.
out.
Yeah,
I also looked at the ice cream museum. I'm like, that kind of.
I've heard of that. I haven't been to that one yet.
I know, but I'm all like, but Vegas is opening an even cooler one. So I don't know. I would go for that ice cream too. What's your favorite museum that you've been to so far out?
I mean, I've been to the ones I've been going to. I've been to before. It's just being able to go to them more often, better times. Say I don't have to teach because the class ends. Now I have a Tuesday free in the summer, so I can go to museum when less people are there.
Yeah.
So you get to see them in a different light, and now you're not. Maybe I just walk to it or ride my bike, so I'm not even dealing with the traffic or paying for it the way you would when you're coming in from the suburbs. You're thinking about it differently.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm just gonna hop on the train, and walk to the Art Institute and like go to the museum for the day. So I've been going to the Art Institute more than I ever had before. Yeah.
Art Institute's really cool.
When I went to school there, you get free access when you go to school there, which is great for like 3 years, as much as you want to go.
Wow.
And I barely went because I was so burnt out from going to school there. I didn't want to be there anymore. So I never went.
That's for sure.
And now I go and it's not free. It's
Like
Yeah.
I went to Olivet, and
okay.
they had a bunch of events that would go on, and you get fried out. You get
You
fried
get
out
fried
by
out.
school,
You do. And you're like, I'm here all the time. I don't want to go back.
and I was trying to do too many things, wearing too many hats at the same time. Like, I was
Mhm.
I was working as a custodian at the school, and then I was traveling on weekends for preaching at different places,
Mhm.
and then I was trying to be an RA on top of it. Literally, my
Just too
senior
much.
year was hell on
You're
earth.
trying to clean up the earth, aren't you? All those positions. You're trying to clean up souls.
I died.
You're trying to clean. You're trying to clean up. Custodian,
Clean
you're
up
trying to clean
souls.
up humans' physical things, and then as a reverend, trying to clean up souls, and then as an RA, trying to clean up people's minds from having fun.
Yeah, but then after I burnt out on being a minister, I fell into a kind of a spiral over the years. Like I said, my expectations kind of turned me into something that I
Yeah.
didn't recognize anymore.
That's one thing we can take away from this conversation. Have expectations, but don't be married to them, whether they happen or not. Just learn from it.
I agree.
Move on. You're gonna have the failures. They're usually opportunities.
For sure.
The obstacles are definitely opportunities.
Yeah.
It's the perspective. You just gotta step outside yourself and look at it a little differently,
I agree.
and you'll see an open door.
That you definitely have a way of conveying things, which is why you should definitely continue as a professor.
I'm trying. I'm trying to continue as a lot of things. We'll see what turns out.
Are you close to tenure, or like how much is what does it take to get
So
tenure?
it depends on what you're hired for. Right now I'm hired as full-time non-tenure track until they have a position open that I can go for. And that's kind of in the talks for now, but I have to like move there, and I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to figure out. But so you can either get hired like how I am, or you can get hired right away as tenure track, and then maybe it takes 5 to 7 years, then you get tenured, become an associate professor. So there's tiers to it. But
did you ever consider DZ Fest out there?
No, but I really want to do it in Chicago because all the connections I have. I just
agree.
have so many connections here. It's not even like, oh, it's weird or lame if it's further away. It's not that, because I did it in my yard for 10 years.
No, it's not
the
about
connections. It just through all the bands and the artists and the volunteers and the patrons and all the fun people you meet.
Focused here.
They just all around. All the connections to make it happen are here to where it would make it easier.
Yeah. While Blono has some cool stuff going on in their scene.
Yeah.
It's just it's easier
and
when
even
you know more people.
And you can even connect to them and get some of those bands, and my students who are in bands start to come up. Even if you get them jobs to work in the summer at DZ Fest. There's this way to connect it. That's what I did. The last 3 years at DZ Fest, I did work at ISU, and I would have my students volunteer and like learn and observe and come be a part of the fest. And they loved it. It was great.
That's so wicked. That's
cool.
So much offer that to
they loved it. None of them were like, no, that sounds lame. They were all like so excited. That's all they asked me about. They could be an intern.
that would jazz me out. Like if I was your student and you were like, oh yeah, you want to work this festival? Heck yeah, dude. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
No, that's such a cool thing. What before this was in my head earlier.
Oh, okay.
This was one of them, but it popped out. So what's dealing with students?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had to fail many people?
What a bold question. Some people have failed. I was actually just talking about this today. It's hard. You definitely it can be difficult. You get some students that you're like really trying to help them, and then some who aren't really helping themselves, and they're not helping you. They're not helping anything. They're not trying. They just kind of disappear on you. And there's not much you could do with that. You kind of have to just give them the F that they have. And then there's other ones. It's a spectrum of how someone gets an F or a D, just something that doesn't count towards a grade.
Yeah.
But sometimes
D's don't count either.
A D will not count as failing, but it won't count usually towards your credit. You won't get credit for it. So you might want to retake the class. Yeah. But it won't be an F as like a failure, but it's not good because you still can't. It won't count towards an actual credit usually for most schools. I think all schools actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And some schools they're even more strict, but most state schools, at least a 70 and above, you have to have.
Yeah.
So it's case by case and depends on the situation. If a student doesn't show up, doesn't try, doesn't turn in projects, then they're just going to get an F. Say a student, this happens a lot too, where they don't ever show up, but all they do is turn in projects. And that depends.
How good the projects are.
No, I don't even care about that.
Oh,
yeah. Because imagine, how about this? You hire me, which you've done before. You come in, and I'm just not there. But
don't listen to it.
But my stuff. But you walk in with your friend to record at DZ Records. I'm just like not really around. But you've heard, I do great work. All the other videos are great, but I'm just not around. It's like most of doing stuff in life and working with clients is showing up.
That's true. That's true though.
And if you don't show up and I don't know who you are, it's a small look into how the rest of the world might be seeing you. They might not know who you are because you're not showing up for something. And professors, not in any nefarious way, but they have a lot. They can gatekeep a lot. They know a lot of people. And so say I have a hookup for an internship and a student's good. If they ask me about it, if they show up and they do good projects, I'll probably refer them to do it. The student who doesn't, I probably will not ask them to do that internship or won't even mention it to them.
Yeah.
So it depends. But if a student's going through something personal, like they reach out and they're going through something serious, a death in the family, personal things, I'll work with them.
Have a little more grace for
it. Happens a lot. It's sad. It's happening more now, I think, than ever in history.
Oh yeah, I especially with the depression rate.
It's
and
bad. I'm at the front line of it, of people between 18 and 22. Every day I'm working with people that age, whether they're in a band and a client or they're a student or a workshop. And it's a problem.
Have you lost any students in that sense?
I haven't lost any students through like anything like
No death or
suicide,
anything?
but I've lost students through their own mental health as far as they like drop out or they disappear.
Just declines at that point.
They just
yeah.
drop out. They have to drop out of college. They disappear. They have to move away. They give up. They go through serious stuff. It happens all the time. Every year, every semester, every class, there's at least one thing you have to deal with.
I used to watch Into the Wild all the time in
I
college.
used to love that movie.
Yeah,
man.
because
Good
I
book,
wanted to
too.
escape society. Like, I was
That's a
like,
movie that inspired the DZ, like why I wanted to.
really?
Yeah, that's one of the movies.
one of my
That,
favorite
Walden,
movies of all time.
Walden.
Yeah, Walden's
I'm serious.
amazing.
That's why I built that club. I was like, I want to get away from society. I don't really see eye to eye with how things are. I don't fit in, so
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah.
That's so cool. That is.
And I haven't really stopped doing it since.
Have you ever watched the movie Wild as well?
the movie Wild?
Wild. It's with Reese Witherspoon, I think.
Wild.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it's another one of those kind of journey flicks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a few of them
Okay.
now that I know what you like.
Okay.
I've got a few movies that you probably would like. Hector and the Search for Happiness is a
Oh,
really good one
I've
as
never
well.
heard of that.
Yeah. It's got the guy from Shaun of the Dead.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget his name.
Me too.
Yeah.
British actor.
Yeah. He's like
Mm.
the main guy, but shoot dang, I'm gonna lose that. But I'll give it to you sometime.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Again, like let people know your name and what you're doing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so my name, Benjamin Arguelles, but if you go on social media, just look up anything DZ Records on all social media, anything DZ Fest. It's usually through DZ Records. So my podcast, Bending Brains, you can find that on YouTube and all streaming services, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, everywhere. And a lot of the guests I have on are people I meet, are other artists, are amazing people. Sometimes they're famous, sometimes they're no one you've ever heard of, but they're all great.
Yeah.
And yeah, check out DZ Records, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where all the videos are. We're at about over 1,900, about 1,820 are public, but there's roughly over 1,900 on there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping to hit 2,000 this year, and keep your eye out and keep an ear open for DZ Fest. Hopefully we're going to do it, and
I'm hopeful.
trying to get funding. So if anyone's listening to this that would like to help with funding or donate, just please reach out to me. Trying to get some funding to help the local art scene and the national art scene and the global art scene with music, local food, local art, local vendors. Try to circumvent big corporations and a lot of big problems that
You've been a
we
huge
didn't get
help
to
to
touch.
that.
So I'm trying to circumvent that, and I might need a little crowdfunding from people who have the means to help out others.
Help him out.
Help them out.
Please do.
And you won't be helping me out. You'll be helping out the world. I promise.
And his interns, his students, they'll all be happy.
Everyone will be happy.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. We'll everybody also, if you hear this, send Mario some good thoughts if you think of them.
We're thinking of you, Mario.
And Libby, we miss you too.
Thank you, everyone. All right.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, man.